Even though the 2022 NFL season is set to start, there are still a lot of many excellent players looking for their places on the roster. While some top players will be quickly grabbed up in case of any injuries, others will go unsigned for the entire season. Join us as we look at some of the top NFL free agents who can help turn teams around. Starting with Odell Beckham Jr. will be in great demand as soon as he gets an all clear from his doctor. Playing as a wide receiver, OBJ caught 27 catches for 305 yards and 5 touchdowns last season while playing for the Los Angeles Rams in 8 regular season games. This was before suffering a knee injury that ended his Super Bowl run. He added 21 receptions for 288 yards and 2 scores during the playoffs. Numerous NFL teams might benefit from a receiver improvement. The Indianapolis Colts, for instance, require additional choices to complement Michael Pittman Jr. and Alec Pierce. Beckham might also potentially think about joining the Rams again or helping the Tampa Bay Buccaneers depth chart after a string of injuries in their squad. Additionally, the wide receiver also garnered interest from the Green Bay Packers last year, even though they apparently lowballed him. It would be foolish to write out the Aaron Rodgers-led Packers if their youngsters don't contribute as early as hoped for, or if veterans Randall Cobb and Sammy Watkins aren't significant players. All in all, there isn't any shortage of admirers for Beckham. Next up, a 2-time Pro Bowl tight end, Jared Cook, will probably maintain his cheap price. Following Gerald Everett's signing by the Chargers, the veteran pass catcher is probably searching for his 7th NFL team. He will turn 35 in April. Cook was reportedly expected to sign a $4 million one-year deal according to Pro Football Focus. That amounts to pennies for a tested weapon like him. Despite being past his prime as a tight end, Cook is still a successful receiver. He grabbed 48 catches for 564 yards and 4 touchdowns with Los Angeles last season. His floor and scheme fit shouldn't be in doubt, considering that he has exceeded the 500-yard plateau in 5 straight seasons and with 3 different clubs. Wherever he ends up, Cook can be a high-end complementing tight end or a low-end starter. Given that the Broncos acquired Russell Wilson in a trade that also includes Noah Fant, the team would be a logical landing spot for the tight end. Albert Aquabenham, who had 330 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2021, might be Cook's partner in Denver. Cook might serve as the Cleveland Browns' third option on a tight budget. Cleveland released Austin Hooper earlier this month in order to maintain head coach Kevin Stefanski's preference for a deep rotation at the position. Moving on, Andy Dalton. The perception of Andy Dalton as a long-term starter should be rejected. However, the 34-year-old still possesses enough stride to serve as a suitable 1- or 2-year bridging option. Dalton started for the Chicago Bears last season and had a 3-3 record. He completed 1,515 passes for 8 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Those aren't fantastic numbers, but they demonstrate that the 3-time Pro Bowler is still capable of leading a team to a .500 records. It shouldn't cost much to buy the quarterback either. In 2021, he signed a 1-year, $10 million contract, but he's probably hoping for a lower price. Dalton is 7 years older than Mitchell Trubisky, who was only offered a 2-year, $14.3 million contract by the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason. Dalton could start until a rookie quarterback is ready in 2022 or 23 for a team like the Carolina Panthers, who were unable to acquire Deshaun Watson via trade, or the Wilson-less Seattle Seahawks. Additionally, he'd be an excellent backup for just about any team that requires one. Even though $7 million and up is nothing to sneeze at, Dalton would be a much more affordable alternative than trading for Jimmy Garoppolo or Baker Mayfield. Following up, only a few NFL cornerbacks in the middle of the 2010s demand more respect than Chris Harris Jr. He was named an AP All-Pro in 2014, 15, and 16. While definitely past his prime, the 33-year-old cornerback has a strong year in 2021 for the Los Angeles Chargers, surrendering a reasonable 7.4 yards per target. In terms of possible teams, Harris or other corners like Joe Haden or Jackrabbit Jenkins, for that matter, should be of interest to any postseason contender with a shaky secondary secondary option in the cornerback position. That includes the Baltimore Ravens and Arizona Cardinals, who have allowed the two highest passing totals in the league in just 2 games. Injury concerns also apply to playoff contenders like the Los Angeles Rams and Miami Dolphins. The question remains whether a cornerback is prepared to defend the Buffalo Bills offense. Yes, that is a high-end issue, but you should probably speak with Harris if the response is even remotely close to no. Coming up, Blake Martinez basically missed the entire 2021 season. Even though the linebacker had his contract modified this season, the New York Giants decided to release him prior to the season. He's obviously a prolific linebacker when healthy. Martinez recorded 4 straight years of 140 or more tackles before the injury. The 28-year-old has become an intriguing prospect for a defense in need of a linebacker as a result of the unexpected transfer. He's been to the Ravens, so more chances ought to come his way. In 2 games, the Detroit Lions, Tennessee Titans, and Washington Commanders have all given up more than 300 rushing yards and 5 or more yards per carrying. To put it briefly, that catastrophe merits attention. The Philadelphia Eagles are aware that Derek Barnett's season is over after tearing his left ACL, while the Pittsburgh Steelers will be without TJ Watt for several weeks due to a ruptured pectoral. Harold Landry, who tore his ACL, is also out for the season for Tennessee. Moreover, cornerback Bryce Callahan is still available, most likely at a discount due to his injuries. In each of his professional seasons, injuries have limited Callahan to 13 or fewer games, and a foot injury forced him to sit out the entire year of 2019. Before free agency started, Pro Football Focus predicted a 2-year, $10 million contract for the 7th-year defender. That's already a reasonable asking price for a trustworthy corner, but Callahan might accept even less at this point in the free agent process. The 30-year-old is dependable when in good health. In each of the previous 3 seasons, he has given up a passer rating of less than 92.0, and in 2020, that rating was only 47.8. Even though Callahan has injury issues, he still has a chance to play a significant role, especially in his typical position as a nickel corner. Denver is interested in both him and safety Kareem Jackson, and a return to the Denver Broncos would make a lot of sense. According to John Heath of Broncos Wire, general manager George Patton stated, "We're talking to Kareem's representatives as well as Bryce. If the Los Angeles Chargers decide not to re-sign slot corner Chris Harris Jr., they would also make a lot of sense." Moving further, Will Fuller V could be available for a good price after all the injuries. The wide receiver is limited to 52 games over 6 seasons and only 2 games following a fractured finger in 2021. Pundits predict that he'd be offered a 1-year, $7 million contract for him, despite the high risk he entails. This assessment is probably high given that Juju Smith-Schuster only signed a 1-year, $3.3 million contract with the Kansas City Chiefs. Similar to Fuller, the 25-year-old Smith-Schuster has injury worries due to the 12 games he missed in 2021 due to a shoulder injury. Fuller, who will be 28 in April, has the quickness that can help any offense. He has exceeded 500 yards 4 times and is a legitimate field stretcher who has a lifetime average of 14.7 yards per grab. On just 53 receptions in 2020, he accumulated 879 yards and 8 touchdowns. According to Cole Thompson of Fan Nation, there have been talks of Fuller joining Watson with the Browns, and the combo could make sense. Cleveland could use another serious threat to combine with second-year speedster Anthony Schwartz, because the two already get along well. Fuller would also be a good fit for the Green Bay Packers, who lost Marquez Valdes-Scantling to the Kansas City Chiefs and dealt Devontae Adams to the Raiders. Lastly, Eric Fisher is leisurely going about things. According to ESPN's Ed Werder, the offensive tackle has reportedly declined 9 offers prior to the start of the season. Just 2 weeks into the season, it's a sure guarantee that NFL teams are checking in with the seasoned linemen. Fisher most recently represented Indianapolis, a team that definitely needs a boost up front. However, a former division opponent can also have a strong interest in the player. Longtime left lineman Taylor Lewin had to be helped off the field with a knee injury for the Tennessee Titans during the humiliating loss to the Buffalo Bills. His long-term outlook is, at best, concerning. The expected frontline contributors for the Baltimore Ravens, Dallas Cowboys, and New Orleans Saints were all lost. Although they aren't aren't in dangerous situations right now, an injury might make things worse. Which one of these NFL free agents do you think would have the most impact? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and also subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.